Hi, Sue Wilson here again today for another video, and we're going to show you how to dress up your embossing with a little bit of sparkle. The dies and embossing folders we'll be using today include the Portuguese collection, the Lisbon, the Canadian collection, the Montreal. I'm going to show you a new flower here, which is made with our classic Foldover flower. And we're going to dress it up a little bit with Mosaic leaves. I'm using a stamp from the Delightful Sentiments and the Bed of Roses embossing folder, which we are going to be using with our A4 adhesive sheets. Okay, let's move all this aside and we'll get started. Right, so the very first thing I've done is I've taken a piece of coconut white card and I've covered it with a piece of self-adhesive sheet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do some sparkling with this first up. Let's get a piece of copy paper here and get this started. Let me just peel back a little corner there. So it says sticky sheet on top of a piece of white card. I'm going to be using the diamond sprinkles, which are from our Cosmic Shimmer Glitter Jewel line. And I'm going to go ahead and pour these on and cover this entire piece. Just move it all around. There we go. Tap off the extra bit. And let me pour this back into our container so we don't waste any. There we go. So my Bed of Roses is an A4 embossing folder, and I'm going to just pop this in here, and you can decide which side you want to have up. I'm just going to see what we get. Pop it right like that. Take my base plate from the Grand Caliber, put the folder with the card in there, and then the raspberry adapter plate on top. And we'll run it through. Go. And you will need to just gently lift this up off of the embossing folder. Isn't that gorgeous? Just love the way that looks. Now, if I'd embossed that before putting on my glitter and just left the adhesive sheet with the backing paper on top, it would still work. However, you would find that it would break open in some places, so you'd have to be doing a lot of peeling. So that's the way I do it, and just so much simpler and cleaner, I think. So let's pop this onto our background, and I will use a little bit of double-sided tape for that. We'll just get that sorted, ready to work forward. A little bit around all the edges here. Just center that right into the middle. Right, so that's our background sorted. So now we can move forward. I've gone ahead and cut one of the Lisbon dies here. There we go. I've cut it into a peach card as my backing, and then the white decorative piece. Now I want to cut out the center, and I know you've seen me do this many times before, but it's always worth showing again. If you want these to be lined up perfectly, you need to put them together and cut them like that, because if I'd cut the top part with the hole in the center and then the bottom part with the hole in the center, they probably wouldn't line up well. So what you want to do is just reseat that die right back into the place and just give it a little wiggle until it's where it needs to be. And then I just use a piece of removable tape. Tape both sides in there. There we go. And let's bring our half side plates forward and we'll pop that through. I like these mini plates. It's just so much easier, I think. Oop, there we go. And that should just untape quite easily. Gently, and then we can pop this back into place on our magnetic sheet so it doesn't get lost. Just like that, and you can use that for something else. But now you've got the center of that die cut out really nice and cleanly, so you don't have to worry about it. Now I do have one that I've done earlier, and it's got a bit of mounting foam on it, so we're going to go ahead and start to assemble this and work upward. So I've got some double pieces of mounting foam just to raise this up a little bit. I like the way it looks when you can kind of go into a die. I think that's quite pretty. And it's just something different. It's a little bit more unusual, I think. Peel these off. And because I've got the glitter there, you're going to want to add some extra glue to the back of this so it stays nice and firm. So let me just pop some Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear glue on all of these pieces of mounting foam here. There we go. Pop that into place right in the center. That looks nice. Give it a second to kind of set up and we'll work forward. Now I do have the centerpiece that we're going to put down in the middle of that ready to go, but I do want to show you what I've done with the sentiment. So I've stamped my sentiment here, wishing you a wonderful day. I'm going to cover it with a self-adhesive sticky sheet. Like that. And I'm going to peel the backing up on this. Just get it started with my pokey tool. There we go. And I'm going to bring over a piece of copy paper to put underneath it. And we'll use the Diamond Snow. It's a little bit finer than the Diamond Sprinkles. It's like a white glitter that doesn't have any interference in it, but it is all one particle size, so it's really nice and fine. And I find it's really pretty to use over your sentiments. It doesn't make it too hard to read. So put that back into the container. Okay. Next, we're going to bring over the Montreal die set, and let's take the two dies out of the center there. And I find it is easiest to do it this way, where I line it up over the center and make sure I'm just right around that sentiment there. Pop a piece of tape down, and then put the outer cutting die with it. Make sure it's nice and centered. There we go. And I'm going to get a couple of pieces of tape to hold that nice and firm. And we'll pop this through the machine. And I'm using a grand caliber here. There's other cutting machines that you can use. You just have to go to the Creative Expressions website to see the sandwiches for those. And let's pop this one out of the way and undo all of our tape. There we go. Take our outer cutting edge off. Make sure to put those back on your magnetic sheet so they're not lost. And let me get that last little piece of tape out of the way. There we go. You can see how beautifully that cut out. Isn't that pretty? Really love the way that looks. So let's bring our card back over and we'll do a little bit more assembling. I'm going to use some of the Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear glue on the back of this piece from the Lisbon. We're just going to insert that down into the card, pushing it all the way so it goes straight down. Give it a second to take. And then I'm going to put a piece of mounting foam on the back of this. Just trim that. And put my sentiment right in the middle there and just kind of eyeball the center. Okay, so I've got the base of that completed. Now we're going to move on to the flower. So I've got a piece of white felt here to use. Originally I used a bit of a peachy felt, but we'll just show you on white. It's just as pretty. So the Foldover flower dies are kind of unusual looking. They don't look like what you would expect. So I'm going to use the larger one here. Let's put it across like that. A piece of tape just to make sure it stays. And we'll run this one through the grand caliber. There we go. Take that off. Put it back onto our magnetic sheet. So you can see what we have here is a interesting looking piece of felt here. It's cut in the center. All right, you can see all this little line slash there. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of our Cosmic Shimmer Dries Clear glue and run a bead along the bottom edge here, just real lightly. And it looks looks good. And the way I do this is I take a couple of acrylic blocks and kind of help me hold it into place till I get it started. I usually start from the center. So I want to just hold that. And then we're going to work our way over this end. Just fold it in half. Pop that on there. And do this other half now. There we go. Just pop it into an acrylic block. Now let that sit for just a minute or so till it gets glued. I have one I've already done, so we'll pop this to the side. Okay. Now that's the folded over part. So what I want to do here is take this piece where it's been folded and add another little line of glue along the edge. And you can do a little at a time or do it all at once. It's your choice. I tend to prefer to do it all at once. That way the glue gets a little bit tacky as I'm working. Get right onto the end there. There we go. Okay. Starting from whichever end you're more comfortable with, we're just going to do a little rolling. Now, with felt, you have to be careful not to get the glue onto the part of the felt that will show, because even though it's dries clear, it will leave a little bit of a mark on felt, so be very careful as you roll it along. And I'm just making sure that the glue edge is on the bottom part of my finger there. I'm going to just keep rolling. And at any point, if you want to make the flower smaller, you can nip this and use it for something else. I'm going to leave that. Just give it a tiny little bit more glue right on the end here to secure it. And hold that for just a second. There we go. And then make sure your hands are nice and clean and you can form this out a little bit. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Let's just make sure that's good and secure there. But you have such a pretty little flower. It's absolutely perfect every time. I love that. Okay, so we are going to add that with a couple of mosaic leaves. So let me get some glue dots here. Pop those into place. And we also have a piece of tulle. In fact, let's put that on first. We'll work our way up from that. So I've got a little piece of tulle here. Put that right onto the edge there. A couple of the mosaic leaves, just like that. Use another glue dot. Put that into place. I'm going to do one top and one lower to the bottom there. And I'm going to use a glue dot on there, but also some glue as well, just to make sure it's nice and secure. That on there. A little bit of glue too. Get that in place. Okay. Ooh. And I've got just a piece of baker's twine that I've tied. I'm going to put a little bit of glue and pop this onto the side here. So pretty. There we go. Give that a second to set up. And I'm just going to finish this off with a few pearls in the corners here. And because I've got the glitter, we want to make sure that we put a little bit of glue in place. And there they are. Let me grab my scissors and we'll just pop some white pearls right into place there. 2, 3. Up in that corner up there, that really does finish that off nicely. How pretty is that? Do you know what I love about a card like this is the dies have done all the work and the embossing folder and a little bit of glitter, but yet you get all the credit. I really like that. So I'm sure any recipient would love to receive a card like this.